I'm here today to talk to you about routine. Now that we know that we are looking at 6 weeks of digital learning, then we need to make sure that we can find a way to be productive during those 6 weeks. So I don't know about y'all, but like for the first half of digital learning, I was struggling to be productive and get done everything that I needed to, despite having a lot of free time to do so. And I realized that what I was missing was routine. And it reminded me of this analogy for time management that I learned while in college. And it worked for me then. And after applying it to digital learning now, I decided that'd be the perfect thing to share with you guys so that way it can work for you too. So this is called the jar of life analogy. And you think of your time and really just your life as an empty jar. And the way that you fill your time is the way that you fill your jar up. As you can see in the last picture, there's always room for coffee and reflection for all of my Stranger Things friends out there. Brainstorm. What are the rocks, gravel, and sand in your life? So think about how you spend your time. Make a list of your priorities, things you need to do, things you want to do, and distractions. This is what fills up your jar of time. Over here on the right, I wrote down to think about the rocks like priorities. So that is your job. Being a student is your first job. That's yourself, and I'm talking about like holistic health. So this is where your spirituality comes in, your physical health, working out, as well as your mental health and self-care. And then relationships is part of that. If quarantining in digital learning has taught me anything, it's the importance of connection and relationships. Then that's followed by the gravel and sand. So what happens is that if your jar fills up with sand first, you don't have any room for the rocks. So we kind of have to work from the biggest priorities, the biggest things in our lives and our time fillers, and put those in first, schedule out times for that, and then go in with the extra stuff. So take some time, brainstorm a list of everything you need, and then start categorizing it as rocks, gravel, and sand. Now, all of this is what I did and how I had to think in order to make digital learning productive. So it may not work for you. You may find a way to tweak this strategy, but I'll show you exactly what I kind of went through, and that way you can use it as an example to make your own routine. Okay, so welcome to Miss Rogers' jar of life here. I have my rocks kind of broken up and of course color-coded because I'm extra into 3 categories, and that's teaching, which is my first job being a teacher, grad school, which is kind of functions as my second job, and then I categorize myself and relationships into 1 rock, so to speak. And you can see over here on the right, I have a whole list of sort of like priorities or pillars in order to make that rock holistic and kind of well-rounded. Then I sort of think about my schedule as like a blank slate, and this is where I can start filling in my rocks in my jars. So the first one, of course, is teaching. So I mapped out kind of everything that I know that I need to do for teaching. So we already have the Zoom schedule, so that was easy. Thanks, Mr. Farney. And then I know that I need to make contacts to both parents and students earlier in the day, so I knew that that was going to be kind of a good thing for the afternoon. And then for grading and planning, that kind of fills in either the rest of the afternoon block or morning block on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I see that my Tuesday and Thursday is kind of open, so that's where I put in my grad school time. And it almost functions as a second job, like I said. So I'm going to try to work in like 3 to 4 hour increments there in the morning and afternoon, which, by the way, that is how I divided kind of my schedule and time. It's easier for me to think about it as morning time, afternoon time, and evening time because I'm not always going to wake up at the same time, and I don't want my entire day to be thrown off. So here I see my 2 main rocks, and I can see that in order for to fit all of my self and relationship priorities in, I've got some time there in the morning, and then my evenings are wide open. Just take some quiet time in the morning while, of course, I'm drinking my coffee, which that leads me to my second one. So after I kind of reflect, think about where I'm at, check in with myself, then I can fill out the rest of those R's. So making a to-do list, that's going to guide my day. And then there in the evening, after I get done everything I need to with school and grad school, I'll take recess right there at 5:30. And then I can quickly follow that by reaching out. So whether that's just calling a friend or maybe sitting down and writing a quick note. Finally, read before bedtime. So that way I can kind of wind down. And while most of these self and relationship rocks don't have a particular time, it is really important for me to set that bedtime because otherwise I'm a night owl. I will stay up all hours of the night. So this is a great way for me to start thinking about my bedtime as part of my routine as well. So making sure that I am in bed, reading, winding down by 10 o'clock. After you get these rocks in here, this is where you can sort of start sprinkling in that gravel and sand of your hobbies or interests or projects. And then, of course, Netflix. And so I have this one for each day of the week. Be realistic and be honest with yourself about what time you're most likely going to wake up and when you're most likely going to work out and that sort of thing. Also remember, it's about progress, not perfection. I am so quick to, if something goes wrong, if I forget to do one thing or my routine gets offset because I overslept or maybe my Zoom call went too long, then just tossing everything out the window and not being productive the rest of the day. So remember, it's about progress, not perfection. So if you only achieve 3 of those things you set in your routine, that's 3 more than you did yesterday. Make sure that you're being flexible, but still sticking to your routine for it to work. Next, reach out for accountability. I am so much more likely to do what I need to if I have a friend keeping me accountable. So schedule a FaceTime with your friends for y'all to work on English homework. Maybe, I don't know. Also, relax and take breaks. Don't work for 8 hours straight. That's why I had it broken up into 4-hour increments. And finally, recharge. Sleeping for at least 8 hours straight is so important. And I know that most of y'all are staying up till like 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. playing video games or Snapchatting or whatever else. Surely by now you've already binge watched everything on Netflix that you want to. So set a realistic bedtime, whether that's 10 o'clock or if you're being honest with yourself, 11 or 12. You can still sleep till 8 or 9 the next day and get your 8 hours in. If you follow these little hints and then also think about your big rocks in your jars for your schedule, then I know that you're going to make an awesome routine and you'll be able to be the kings and queens of digital learning. I hope that you have a great rest of your evening, and let's start back to school this week organized and having a routine to get everything you need to done so that way you can have more time to have more fun. Bye, guys.